Hello, guys. It is Tuesday, January 12th. Good to see you. So let's go ahead and dive into what we'll be up to today. You are going to officially start reading Romeo and Juliet today. So that's the majority of your assignment today. You'll read pages 2 through 37. Afterwards, you'll complete a reading response, which is another thing that you're used to, your typical noticing, question, connections, and meanings. And then lastly, you'll have an exit ticket similar to what you had yesterday using Google Forms. But let me talk to you about how to read the play this semester. So when you click on this link, it'll open up the play. Kind of like reading the book Night, I've given you a digital copy. And when you click on it, it will download to your Chromebook or computer that you're using. It's sort of a large file because it is a full text, so it might take a second. But once it is ready, you can click on it and it'll open. And I want to introduce you to how this particular text works. So, okay, I'm opening my play. Here we go. So you notice this is called No Fear Shakespeare. What that means is this book has two versions of the play in it. There are pages with a black box around them, as you can see, a lot of them. And there are pages with no black box. Now here's what that means. Each page is the same thing twice. So here's what I mean by that. For instance, you see here's page 1 with the prologue. Here's page 2, or 3, excuse me, that's page 2 and 3. It also has the prologue. Well, what in the world does that mean? The page with the black box is the writing that Shakespeare wrote in 1595. That means those black box pages are going to be Old English, language we don't really use anymore. You can understand it, but it is complex and difficult, especially without a teacher there to walk you through it, like your classmates in the middle school physically will have. Now, the page without the black box is, again, the same thing, but what they have done is they've rewritten it, what Shakespeare had written, in a way that's easier for us to understand in 2020. It's not easier or like a cheating. It's just we talk and write differently now than they did in England in 1595. Therefore, it's up to you. If you find it easier to read the pages without the black box, that's what's called the modern text. It's written like we would talk today. Feel free to read those pages. If you'd rather read what Shakespeare originally wrote, feel free to read the pages with the black boxes. It's up to you. But you'll notice again, every page or every other page is the same thing twice. So for instance, this black box, Act 1, Scene 1, this is the beginning of that scene, what Shakespeare wrote. This is also Act 1, Scene 1, but it's written in modern language. Up to you which one you decide to read, but the key to know is you don't have to read both unless you want to read Shakespeare and then try to translate it for yourself. I know that's kind of a lot of information, so if any of that is unclear, feel free to shoot me an email, use the question board, etc. One more thing, and I'll let you guys get started. This is a play, so people wouldn't have really read this when it was originally written. People would have watched it on a stage. Actors and actresses would have acted it out. Therefore, each page is going to have a name. That's the character that's talking, and the text underneath that name is what they would have said. So, for instance, here it's Samson is talking, and he says, "Gregory, I swear, we can't let them humiliate us." That's an example of a play and how dialogue works in a play. And then the next line, Gregory is talking back. And then the next line, Samson is talking back to Gregory. So that's kind of how a play is written. Okay, so your goal today is to read pages 2 through 37. You're going to get introduced to some of the families in the play. The Capulets and the Montagues don't like each other. You're going to learn about Romeo, not Juliet yet. She comes in later. And that takes me actually to, after this, you'll complete your reading response. And then, of course, you'll complete your exit ticket. So here's 2 questions you might want to keep in mind as you read that you're going to answer at the very end of your lesson. 1, I want you to describe how did Shakespeare open the play? What happened? Why do you think he opened it that way? And secondly, I want you to describe what is Romeo like? How would you describe him as a character so far? So I'm going to give you time to read, complete your reading response, and then complete your exit ticket. Should you run into any trouble, feel free to let me know via email or what have you. Good luck. Enjoy the play. The opening is very funny and silly, and I hope that you enjoy your time with Romeo. And I'll see you on Thursday.